This is number 32 in Chapter 2. It deals with the law of definite proportions, and that talks about how if you have a molecule, no matter how much of that molecule you have, you're always going to have a certain ratio of one element to another element, and that would be based on its chemical formula, but the ratio should always be exactly the same no matter how much of that compound you actually begin with. And so 32 reads that we have two samples of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is NaCl, and these are both decomposed into their constituent elements, sodium and chlorine respectively. And for one sample, 6.98 grams of sodium was observed upon decomposition and 10.7 grams of chlorine. In a different sample, it was observed that upon decomposition, 11.2 grams of sodium and 17.3 grams of chlorine. So if this follows the law of definite proportions, then we should have the same ratio of sodium to chlorine in both samples, and that's what the question is asking us, is are these results consistent with the law of definite proportions, and explain your answer. And so really what we just want to know is, well, is the ratio of these masses the same? And if they are, then it follows the law of definite proportions. So I'm going to take my first sample, the 10.7 grams of chlorine, divide it by my 6.98 grams of sodium, and I get a mass ratio of 1.533. I'm also going to do that for my other sample, which provided us with 17.3 grams of chlorine and 11.2 grams of sodium. And when I do that division, I get 1.54. They are slightly different, but for the most part, these guys are exactly the same with a ratio of 1.5. So yes, this does follow the law of definite proportions. Both samples of sodium chloride have the same mass-mass ratio.